No sacred cow.
Welcome to Barbecuing Sacred Cows with Jarrell Jones and Jason Williams.
Right. Welcome back to Barbecuing Sacred Cows. As I said earlier, our special guest, our very first guest, is Bobby Humphrey, none other than University of Alabama football star, Denver Broncos, other teams in the NFL. Bobby is an inspirational story, and he's going to share with us some of his sacred cows that need to be barbecued, but also a fascinating story I think you'll all be interested in. Bobby, first of all, welcome. Thank you for coming and sitting down with us. I wish we had the barbecue. We actually have a sponsor, but we're still developing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a question. I was going to ask you who inspires you. Where's your inspiration come from with the name?
So sacred cows, we will explain to Bobby, sacred cows in the East, you can't eat the cows in India. There's some people that practice religion where the cows are considered sacred. They're reincarnations of loved ones. So if you go to certain places in India, you'll see cows walking through the street, crapping and peeing and just messing things up, but you can't touch them because they're sacred cows. So we use that as a euphemism for traditions and mores and rules, that things that we do, behaviors that they don't work no more, right? And so we have these sacred cows that we protect, but the question is, do they really work anymore?
I don't know, but I love a T-bone steak.
There you go. So let's get into it, right? Jason, you take off with the first question. What would you like to ask Bobby?
Well, in understanding the history of Alabama, and specifically, you joining a football team that I guess had integrated and being around, post-civil rights, I guess just talk a little bit about your experiences kind of coming on campus and things like that.
Well, that's an interesting question because not too long ago, my daughter Brianna, who lives out in California, Glendale, California, close around the Hollywood area and so forth, went out there in quest to become an actor, transitioned into a producer, actor, and did a documentary called Nothing But a Winner. And it was centered around, integration.
Okay.
In terms of when Coach Brian got there, and he was kind of like the instigator, the mover, to get the ball down the field in regards to, integrating the team with African American players.
Right.
So although that was already done before, I got there, but there was still a little bit of a little cloud where,
Did you get there in what year?
I got there in 85.
You get there in 85. Okay. Brian integrated the team in 70.
Oh my God, let's see.
Four?
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay, Sam Bam Cunningham.
Sam Bam Cunningham was the one that was at USC.
Right.
USC was already integrated.
Right.
Okay, that's right.
Bear Bryant orchestrated the matchup.
Right.
He was good friends with the head coach there in California.
Okay.
And he kind of orchestrated the game between USC and Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a home and away, right? So the first year it was at USC.
No, the first year it was in
Birmingham.
Oh, okay.
At Legion Field.
Yeah.
He brought him to Legion Field.
And at that time, there were no black players that ever played on the team, or I don't think they played against any team that had black players. So Alabama back in the days, they had a schedule where they didn't play teams, and most of the teams in the South did not play teams that were integrated.
Okay.
So that's another one. Let me just talk about sacred cow right here. See, a lot of people think that because George Wallace stood on the steps that Alabama was like a special kind of racist, right? But University of Tennessee, University of Auburn, none of these SEC teams. I mean, I think Tennessee was the first to integrate with a black quarterback, the first to have a black quarterback, right? Yeah. But beyond that, right, all of these teams were segregated. All these schools were segregated schools, right? Mm-hmm. So, whether they stood on the steps or not, they still practice that philosophy.
They still practice that, but Governor Wallace got a lot of attention across America because he stood, in the door, and the National Guard had to come down.
Right.
When the first African American enrolled in school, Vivian, and you think about all that there. Now the team still wasn't integrated at that time.
Right.
So Coach Bryant and his his man of wisdom.
Mm.
You know, man that was way ahead of his time. Kind of massage. So you had to watch Nothing But a Winner, which is the movie my daughter.
Yeah.
The documentary.
I did.
Oh, did you
Yes, he did too. Yeah,
so,
it's research.
Yeah, that documentary is the real deal.
Don't even worry about it. Listen,
right now.
y'all go watch the movie. It's called Nothing But a Winner. It's streaming on Tubi and it's streaming on
Amazon
Prime. Right. So go check that out. And but this is what we're going to talk about. I want to talk about the projects that you're doing right now. Okay. So let's talk about this. So you're the father of filmmakers, but you're also the father. Now, I'm a football fan, so y'all got to excuse me. You're also the father of Marlon Humphrey, who kind of doing the thing in the NFL right now.
Well, okay. So the history behind both my wife and I, we've been married this year, be 36 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So we dated in high school. She went to she attended Jackson Oldham High School.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Mustang.
Yeah, go Mustangs. And I attended Glenn High School, which I am one of the members of the class of '85, which is the last graduating class of Glenn High School when it was high school, and they closed it, after '85 graduated, and those kids were just dispersed. Those students were dispersed.
And Andrew Toney went to Glenn too.
Andrew Toney went to Glenn. That's correct. So my wife was a track star at Jackson Oldham, and I also ran track at Glenn High School, and that's how we actually met at a city track meet.
Okay.
And dated, and then we got married, and then we have 5 wonderful children that also went on to play sports collegiately.
Okay.
Thank God, all of them got scholarships.
Praise the Lord.
And it's expensive as college is now.
Yes, sir.
It was
I got 55 grand.
I think you did good bringing 2 track stars together, right?
Yeah,
something about those genes coming together.
You knew you was gonna have something special.
Something nice.
Right, yeah.
So my and all of them ran track. That is the universal sport that everybody.
Every Humphrey.
Not all the boys didn't play football.
Okay.
But they all ran track.
Okay.
And both my 2 daughters ran track. So you start. My oldest son went to Arkansas on a football scholarship. Ended up transferring to UAB and graduated from UAB on a football scholarship. My oldest daughter ran track at UAB. By the way, my wife also ran track at UAB and still holds the 400 meter.
Oh, wow.
Shut your mouth.
400 meter record.
You want to shout her name out?
Barbara May at the time. That's what the name is in the record book, Barbara May. But obviously we got married. Now she's Barbara Humphrey.
Okay.
But she has the record at 53 seconds.
I just got a point.
Still holds the
I
record.
can't let it go by. I'm OCD. So it's Bobby and Barbara.
That's correct.
Okay. I just want
Yeah,
once I couldn't let it go.
So my oldest daughter went there on a track scholarship. Marlon, who's everybody is kind of more familiar with because, he's had such a long, NFL career. He's been in the league now for 10 years. Going
And
to his
extremely
10 years.
successful.
This is his tenure.
Back. So he also ran track and played football.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he did a combination of both.
Well, he ain't just an average defensive back either. Let's just, put that on the table. He's
done pretty.
He's
well.
a Pro Bowler.
Four-time Pro Bowl, two-time All-Pro. So
he's pretty good at the game. That's all I'm saying.
Well. And then my youngest daughter, she ran track and she went to LSU.
Okay.
On a track scholarship. She was a short and long hurdler. So for the listeners who don't know what it is, you got 10 hurdles that you have, which they call the short hurdles, which is the 100-meter hurdles for the female, 110-meter hurdles for the males.
Okay.
And then you got a 1 lap around hurdles, which is the 400-meter hurdles, which is they call the long hurdles.
Okay.
And the reason why they call them long is because it's just a long distance.
It's a long way to go.
So she went to LSU and she had a great, great career at LSU. Finishing 3rd in the NCAAs, finishing right at 7th in the Olympic trials.
Oh, wow.
So she had a very, very successful career. Never really pushed to go pro.
Right.
So she kind of like found her groove outside of track, and once she stepped off after the Olympic trials, and she didn't want to pursue it any longer. And then my youngest son, which is the baby, he played basketball.
Okay. Now you're talking my language.
Oh, okay. You're a basketball guy. Okay. So he was a point guard, started at the University of San Diego.
Okay.
Which is in the West Coast Conference.
Yeah, the Aztecs.
Yeah. No, not the Aztecs.
That's Arizona.
No, the Aztecs is San Diego State.
Okay.
Yeah. San Diego State. And San Diego is the Toreros.
Okay.
University of San Diego. So they have 2 big campuses, 2 big universities there in San Diego. San Diego State, and then University of San Diego.
Okay.
So so he went there. So yeah, we got
So that's a lot of success.
that's a lot of.
But this is the question, right? You know, because real life happens behind the cameras. Not in front of it. Real life, in front of the cameras, we're superheroes, right? But there's, I tell people who look at me now, and they wouldn't imagine that I'd gone through what I've been through, right? You don't look like what you've been through. I came to believe that success was another thing than what I had been told it was. I had been told that success was, have a bunch of money, have a bunch of cars, have a bunch of, that would be the determinant. But in talking with you and knowing your story some, right, I wanted you to kind of express what you believe success looks like after going to the top, the NFL being the top of your game, and what is success really?
Everybody have their own level of success,
and that's what we're talking about.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can say that a Pee Wee League football team who wins the championship game, that is success to them.
Yeah.
I mean, that ain't the Super Bowl,
right?
But everybody don't get a chance to go play in the Super Bowl.
That's exactly right.
But you were successful at your level. So I think success doesn't necessarily mean you got to be a billionaire. Success could mean you can get a job and own your own home.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's to determine what? So let me ask you this here. If a guy had $1 billion and he gets everything he wants, and a guy only make $30,000, but yet he has everything he wants. So he has a place to live, he has a car to drive, he eats every day, he provides for his family.
Content.
You don't need $1 billion
right.
to say you are successful.
Right.
You just need to achieve the things that you want to achieve in life and be content with what you have. So when I look at success, I didn't win a Super Bowl, nor would I get a chance to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But from a kid growing up in Islington Village.
Come on.
You know what I'm
Say
saying?
that. Come on.
A kid growing up in Islington Village was able to go through a life of playing football, playing at the University of Alabama, and making it to the NFL.
Yeah.
I consider that successful.
Absolutely.
Now, granted, I was never the offensive MVP, and I never won the Super Bowl. But I'd be darned if I'm going to say I wasn't a successful individual in my trait.
See, excuse me. See, for me, I never thought of you as anything but a success. You were always a hero from the kids that are looking up, and we're about the same age, but I was definitely not a Bobby Humphrey, right? So it was success playing at the University of Alabama. Never mind the league.
Right.
You went to college, like number one.
Yeah. But then in the neighborhood, if you running touchdowns at Glenn, get what? You famous.
That's right. In the neighborhood.
So but I like what you said. Is I think a lot of us get caught up in chasing stuff. I believe in setting your own goals, but chasing other people's form of success isn't going to work.
And I think you're right about chasing stuff. You think about it. Some people want to measure themselves to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That ain't how you measure yourself.
Right.
You measure yourself to yourself.
That's right.
My wife and my wife started a track club. So we started out with this. How we started a 15-year track club. We ran it for 15 years. So my wife started out running our kids unattached in summer track meets. She would register them in, and they would go and run at meets locally around the state. At the end of the summer, and I had no idea she was doing all this. So at the end of the year, the kids, they were young, they came to her and they said, "Mama, we made friends and we want to start our own track club so our friends can run with us." Because they saw everybody else that was on teams.
Okay.
We didn't have no name on our jersey. We
Right.
was just, a black t-shirt, a white t-shirt,
Yeah.
black shorts. and running track. And the kids had a ball. So we started a club sitting at my kitchen table.
Yeah.
Marlon came up with the name. I think my oldest daughter came up with the colors. And they named it Speed City Track Club.
Okay.
We ran it for 15 years.
Wow.
Now, and then we went out and we got all the kids that were family and other kids that they ran with. But this is what I'm getting at. My wife was brilliant. She took novice, kids that had never ran before, and she took advanced kids. But she put them all in there together.
Wow.
But she knew the advanced kids could probably stand on their own, but the young kids that never ran before was going to struggle a little bit.
Right.
Every week after every track meet, she would send out their times. Their times.
Mm-hmm.
So you know who they was competing against?
Themselves.
Themselves.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
So if they didn't beat, if they came in 5th place and they beat their time,
Mm-hmm. They win.
they win. They were
Right.
successful.
Yeah.
And that's how she motivate those kids to become better
I think-
because they were competing against themselves.
I think it's a good model for everyone. Meet your marks. It's just like when you work out. Today you lift 125, tomorrow you get 150. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. But the point is that progress is what success looks like.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're coming to.
Can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned you grew up in the housing projects and you just were a few minutes from Legion Field, but I guess growing up, how were you defining success? I'm sure you were motivated by some things in your life, but what did success look like for you at that time?
Man, success to me was being able to jump the fence of a neighbor's yard, three blocks down the road, and being able to take some pomegranates off that tree and jump back across that fence and make it home. I was successful, you know.
Right.
And I remember jumping across that one time, and I went to put my hand up there, and the man grabbed it. You know what he said? He said, "You don't have to do this, son."
Yeah.
And he gave it to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a part of success.
Yeah.
Another success was, we didn't have much in the project, so I parked cars.
During the classic.
During the
Alabama
game. game.
That's right.
They played all the Alabama games at Legion Field.
And I used to live right there in Smithfield. Right up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So everybody parked cars.
Mm-hmm.
Parked cars, and I made enough money parking cars. I was able to help my mother in the project. So I kind of, at a young age, funded my own way through school with buying my own jeans and sneakers.
Yeah.
Just from the park, and gave my mom some money. Because, we were on government assistance.
Yeah.
My success was being able to get in line early enough with my mom to go to Toys for Tots to get a bicycle that we didn't have.
Okay.
All those are successful moments.
That's good.
Like I said, at levels.
Yeah.
But then my real success was disobeying my mother and joining the football team that she told me not to join, the community football team. I would practice during the day, and I would come home and make it home before dark.
Yeah.
And I was on the team, and in my first ball game, I actually, the sun kind of got down before I could get home.
Yeah.
And I did well in that ball game. I played well in that ball game. I got the MVP. But I came home
To a whooping.
that I didn't get.
Remind me of the water boy.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't get the whipping.
Because the MVP.
Because of the MVP trophy.
Yeah.
I was on the team. She had no clue I was on the team.
So let me get this right.
Wow.
Just right. So you snuck and played football when your mama said no, and it ended up sending you to a whole nother level. Now, I ain't saying disobey your parents.
Right.
No,
I ain't saying that. But I'm saying that you must have had a passion. And what came with that was the discipline to be able to hide it. Because it wasn't like you was going stealing stuff. It's like you going to train to become a fit. Yeah. You're going to train. You snuck. You see, I'm saying that today that is such a, it's a rare quality that people will, be self-determined to go and do these types of things for themselves.
You said it's a rare determination. And that's what my mom saw in me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That night when I came. Now, she was prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That
Yeah,
switch.
Give me a spank. Yeah, she had to switch the belt.
BTA.
Yeah. And, you know, and I always tell people my mom would have been locked up several times. So when she, you know, my mom didn't play back then when, you know, moms didn't play back then, but. So
my mom was the first person to put a gun in my head. That's an actual fact. And she wasn't trying to hurt me, kill me.
She was trying to straighten you up.
She had a black boy, right? And you need to understand that she was a single mother, basically, with a black boy, and trying to keep him from being shot to death or going to jail or so on and so forth. And all she knew was keep him scared, you know, scare the hell out of him. This actual phrase, scare the hell out of me, right? And that's what she was trying to do. You know, the gun wasn't loaded. She would tell me later. I don't know if it was or not, but she would tell me the gun wasn't loaded. But it was a challenging moment. It was a traumatizing time. But yes, parents were extension cords. We got frying pans, brooms. Right? Yeah, child abuse was not the same as it is today.
No, it wasn't. My mother was prepared to correct me because I disobeyed her. Not only did I disobey her about joining the team, she was more upset about the fact I made it home after dark. You know,
okay.
That was like
she was scared. You got a black boy out there in the streets in the dark.
You know,
yeah.
So I broke two biblical rules.
You better bring a trophy home.
Yeah. So, but she saw that determination.
Yeah.
And she's like,
this is the most stuff. He did that without encouragement.
Yeah. He really want to play, and she let me play from that point on. I was in 8th grade.
Okay.
Playing on the community team. And then I went on to Glenn High School.
Right.
And the only other sports I had participated in, organized sports I had participated in, was I was on the softball team. Now, they had to practice during the day, and you played during the day because they didn't have the lights and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So that was a day thing, and she didn't mind me doing that. She always felt that I would get hurt playing football.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what happened. Then I went on to Glenn High School, and you know, and like you said, the rest is history. It's a first round draft pick to the Denver Broncos. Was a rookie of the year. We actually played in the Super Bowl.
In '89,
my first year in the league, and never made it back. And then I actually played 2 years with the Miami Dolphins, and just had an opportunity to be around some very, very good coaches and some good players, and had my ups and downs, but I would say that was a tremendous amount of success for a kid that's coming out of the
Absolutely. And then I would tell, never let anybody, not that you would, but I'm telling the audience, and don't let anybody diminish you. Everybody's not built. I can't play basketball. I can't play basketball against him. Might not be able to play against you, right? My point is I can play basketball, right? But I would need to measure myself against myself if I'm going to have good confidence, especially at this age. But anything you're doing, right, just make progress. Progress is success. And failure is actually the information that you need to succeed. That's all it is. There's no need to fear it. It is going to happen. I bet you Bobby can tell you story after story of fumbles, of missed passes, of, you know what I'm saying? It's just failure. But what it is the principle is this: fail forward.
Right.
Fail forward. If you're going to fail at 100 miles an hour so that when you fall, you roll forward. Right?
That's right.
Absolutely. So that's kind of the success story that you asked about in terms of me.
Yeah.
For me growing up. You know what was the amazing thing when I look back on my life? My mother, she's passed now. She was a single parent. And I looked at the way she provided for us and the struggles that she had. She didn't work because she wanted to be home when we got out of school. So it wasn't like she didn't want to work.
Right.
Yeah.
She prioritized time with her children, which I think is something that we bump into a lot today, where we have single moms working 3 jobs with the need of providing resources, but what they're not doing is providing what the kids need most, which is the time and attention, right? The presence.
And I always feel like the community has to pick up, nobody, I live in an underserved community, and nobody has to come and tell me, if I see a single mother move in with 4 kids, I don't have to have a visitation from Gabriel to tell me that I need to go and try to help, right? Because here's the thing, right, is that those kids are going to affect my life at some point.
That's right.
If I don't develop a relationship with them, they may affect it in a negative way, right? So I can actually influence my community by putting the neighbor back in neighborhood, right? We call it the hood because hardly anybody wants to neighbor anymore, right? But if we neighbor, we build community, we support these single mothers, we support these single fathers, we support these kids that are homeless. We got homeless kids living in cars and bandos, right? You know, we have the ability as a community to affect change in ways that I think that we haven't necessarily thought about yet. And we need to barbecue those sacred cows. That idea that everything that God has for me, it is for me, that's not true. The truth is that whatever God is giving you, he's giving it to you as a conduit to flow to the people that need it the most.
Amen.
Can I get an amen?
You got an amen out of me. And going back to my mom, she dropped out, but she didn't drop out because she couldn't learn. She dropped out because she got pregnant by what eventually was her husband, which was my dad. So, but they didn't have the situation set up like they do now, where you can attend school and still pursue your education with being in terms of being a teenage mother.
Right.
But back then they didn't have it. That was frowned upon.
Right.
You know what I mean? So she dropped out, but during that whole time, she took care of her kids, and then she later on in life went back and got her GED. It's come close when she got to about 60. Then she went on and got her associate's degree, and then she went and got her bachelor's degree, and then she got her master's degree.
Okay.
And then she became a doctor. She got her PhD.
All that past 60.
Wow.
All that past 60.
See, so another sacred cow we putting on the grill right here is that
put it on the grill.
Yeah, it's it's too late for me.
It's too late.
No, man, ain't never too late.
Now, I just want to go back for a minute because this is what he said. Single mother living in the projects, gets married, struggling with trying to get her education, can't get it until 60. And then from 60, for the time that she had, went and got a PhD.
That's correct.
So I'm saying, see, that kind of stuff inspires me, right? Right. That takes a kind of attitude, a determination that, it just doesn't come without, I think, hardship. I think hardship actually, I think about me, I couldn't have been here without the hardship that I had put myself through.
Well, I think you bring up a great point, and that was a question I had for you. Is it seems, I watch nothing but a winner, and I know kind of historically the challenges that people of color face growing up in Birmingham, Alabama, and yet there's this grit and resilience, right? And individuals like you and so many. And then we have today's kids, right? And more opportunities than ever, more exposure than ever. What do you think is lacking where, there were so many people that were developing that grit and tenacity and determination and discipline, whereas now it's like we think we're supposed to just show up and we're entitled to get, and we're entitled to receive everything that's out there.
I think the word you used was entitlement. But it's generated by parents.
Okay.
And we all are victim of it because we don't want our children to grow up like we grew up.
Sure.
I
get that. Yeah. No,
I mean?
Come on. Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do. Absolutely.
We used to come home and wasn't in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
But the water jug. But we knew when we came home, we didn't know we were poor when we were young.
Nope.
But we just knew that I knew I had to go park some cars, man, if I wanted to get me a 2-piece chicken.
Had to go cut some grass. Go to the store for Miss Maddie. Miss Maddie wants you to go to the store for her. She gonna give you $1.
That's right. Yeah. You made it work, and I think now, I'm talking about my kids, your kids, all our kids. There's so many opportunities. There's so many people who paved the way for us to have these opportunities now.
Right.
So now we're not doing a good enough job to keep our kids hungry.
Yeah.
My kids had no idea about walking to school.
Right.
No, ain't none of my kids never walked to school, man. Yeah. I used to get up out of my bed at Ilden Village and I used to walk. Now, Parker was only about 3 blocks away. And Glenn High School was about 2 miles away, 3 miles away.
Wow. Yeah.
I didn't get up, and it didn't make no difference.
Why did you go to Glenn, if I can ask, instead
Because
of Parker?
it was zoned.
Oh.
Yeah. So Smithfield was zoned to Parker. Who
Okay.
said they were from Smithfield?
I lived in Smithfield.
You
I went to
lived in-
Hill School in first grade.
Yeah. So they were zoned to go to Parker.
So my stepdad went, yeah.
And Glenn was zoned.
For
Islington Village was zoned to go to Glenn.
Okay.
But we were right
across the street
through
from
Parker.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably Jackson Olin ain't that much further than Glenn is from Islington Village.
Yeah, that's a pretty good hike.
Yeah, about 4 miles.
Yeah. Actually we were really closer to Ensley High School.
Yeah.
Yeah, right off the interstate.
Yeah, because we can just come right down.
Right off the interstate.
Yeah.
Right down
Yeah.
the 3rd Avenue.
But nah, you talking about interstate. I'm talking about walking.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have no cars.
That's right.
Man, I remember I bought my first car.
6th Avenue. Yeah.
$600 Cutlass. It was bent it all up.
You didn't get NIL money, I take it, when you.
No.
We ain't gonna talk about it if you did. Somebody got some. Now we just gonna tell the truth. Somebody got some. It might not have been you.
Well, we didn't get it though.
Closing because I think our phones are gonna die. But tell us something that you would like. If you had the opportunity to speak to the nation. Anything. That
Man, I tell you, we live in a society where people are under the belief that success is easy. Because there have been so many successful people,
right,
in their mind, in terms of their visual mind and what they read and what they see. But success is predicated on how hard you're willing to work.
Good.
And success is stages.
Mm-hmm.
You don't become a baby. Doesn't start walking after 2 months. It's a progression.
Right.
If I want to get up on top of this building, I'm going to have a way to get up there, and it's probably going to be a ladder. And that ladder is a step-by-step process until I get to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't actually get to the top of this building until I actually get to that last steps that put me on the top of this building.
That's
You
good.
need to understand that there are steps
That's good.
that you have to take to be successful. And steps along with patience. And trust me, if you have the willpower, and I don't believe in can't and disappointing, and I don't think I can do it. My mother was a high school dropout and ended up getting a PhD.
Awesome.
From the projects.
That's definitely.
Now, what excuse do you have?
I ain't
That's
got
good.
now. I ain't.
I ain't got nail.
Thank you, Bobby, for coming. And listen, we invite you back sometime.
Man, I
We've
love
actually
coming
got
back.
some barbecue.
That's
Like
right.
next time, we're gonna have some barbecue on this table. We're gonna eat, talk, we drink some lemonade, and talk about some more stuff on barbecuing sacred cows. This is Jarrell Jones.
Jason Williams.